We're surrounded by concrete, by glass, by the constant glow of our screens. And so many of us feel this persistent, low-level anxiety, and we can't quite figure out why. What if the answer isn't something new, but something ancient? Today, we're going to explore the absolutely profound healing power of nature. It all starts with a pretty shocking number. Get this, we now spend about 90% of our lives indoors. 90%. Think about that. We've basically built walls between ourselves and the very world we were designed to live in, and that disconnect has a cost. Scientists have actually given this feeling a name: nature deficit disorder. It's the sense that something fundamental is missing. It's like our bodies are here in the 21st century, but our nervous systems, they're starving for a connection we've almost completely forgotten about. So here's the path we're taking today. We'll start by really unpacking this nature deficit disorder. Then we'll look back at a century-old idea that called nature God's second book. From there, we'll connect that ancient wisdom to modern science, and finally, we'll talk about what it means to truly return to reality. All right, first up, nature deficit disorder, or as I like to think of it, the invisible wall between us and well-being. See, this isn't some dramatic, sudden sickness. Oh no, it's way more subtle than that. It's that constant, low-level hum of anxiety in the background. That feeling of being a little untethered. It's the sense that even when everything in life is technically okay, something is still just off. We're living inside, but our deepest self is just longing for the world outside. So how do we even start to fix this? Well, for that, we're going to jump back in time, over 100 years, to the insights of a writer and health reformer named Ellen White. She had this really profound perspective on the natural world that, honestly, science is only now starting to catch up with. She calls nature God's second book. Now, what's so fascinating about this idea is the intentionality behind it. For White, nature isn't just a bunch of random scenery. It's a deliberate message. It's a system of healing designed to bypass our cluttered, noisy minds and speak directly to our souls. And this little chart just illustrates the difference perfectly. Our world, full of buildings, ads, traffic, it constantly reminds us of human ambition, human stress, and let's be honest, our own self-importance. But when you're out in nature, surrounded by mountains or ancient trees, your whole perspective shifts. Your ego shrinks, and you start to see your place in a much, much bigger, more peaceful story. So how does this actually work on a practical level? Well, that brings us right to our third section, nature's ancient remedies. And this is where timeless wisdom meets modern science. It's so cool. Let's start with just air. Over a century ago, White was warning people that the air in their sealed-up houses was lifeless and poisonous. Fast forward to today, and what does science call it? Sick building syndrome. But here's the amazing part. She said invigorating air steadies the nerve. Well, we now know that forests release these chemicals called phytoncides, which are scientifically proven to lower our stress hormone cortisol and boost our immune system. She saw the effect. We just discovered the how. It's incredible. Okay, next up, sunlight. She called it, and I love this, heaven's best physician. At a time when everyone was closing their drapes to protect their furniture, she was telling them to throw those windows wide open. And guess what? Once again, science catches up. We now know that sunlight is the primary regulator of our internal body clock, our circadian rhythm. Her beautiful idea that sunlight can warm a discouraged heart is literally true. Sunlight is the master key for producing serotonin, which is basically the brain's happiness chemical. She also had this fascinating idea she called industrial therapy. Now, this wasn't about factories or machines. It was about the industry of gardening. She believed that working with the soil was a powerful antidote to the culture of instant gratification that she saw emerging even back then. And that process, it teaches us these profound lessons. When you work with the earth, you are forced to slow down. You have to learn God's pace, not the world's frantic one. You learn that good things, like fruit, take time and patience and cultivation, a lesson our swipe-right, instant download culture desperately needs. Finally, let's talk about the remedy of sight. White pointed out that the greens and blues of nature are uniquely restful for our eyes and our minds. Well, today, science calls this attention restoration theory. It basically shows that looking at nature allows the part of our brain that gets exhausted by work and screens to just rest and recharge. Those soft, repeating patterns in a leaf or a cloud, they're like a visual sedative for our overstimulated minds. And all of this leads to our final and maybe our most important section, a return to reality. This is all about remembering that we are creatures, not machines. You know, in our modern hustle culture, we chain ourselves to our desks thinking we're being so productive. But what we're really doing is grinding away our empathy, our creativity, our peace. We're actually becoming less human. And this brings us to a really profound question. The source material points out that even Jesus went out into the silence of nature to connect with the Father. So if the Son of God needed that, how much more do we need it? This totally reframes nature. It's not a luxury, it's not a vacation. It's an absolute necessity for our spiritual and mental survival. So, here's a simple challenge for you. Leave your phone behind, just for a bit. Go somewhere the only notifications you can hear are from the birds. Just stand in the sun. Breathe deeply. You see, nature isn't a getaway from reality, it is a return to it. It's where you remember what's actually real. Because in the end, all of this ancient wisdom, all of this modern science, it all points to one simple truth. Out there in the silent woods and under the expansive sky, something is being communicated. The Creator is speaking. The only question is, are we taking the time to listen?